All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. As usual, Colts Loyalist here with me. And, oh my goodness, man, I have just about had enough of social media today. Holy crap. If you haven't watched my video about Carson Wentz that I just posted maybe an hour ago, go check that out because, I went on a rant. I went on an 8-minute rant about how people, big guys like Ian Rappaport and stuff will use words to get them out of hot water. Well, if and maybe and things like that. Words like that, If this does not work out, he'll need surgery, or he might need surgery. These are not any words coming from the Colts, and it's ticked me off. And even to this day, I posted that video on Reddit, and I've got all these people on there downvoting it, saying that I'm ridiculous, and that on Colts Reddit. Saying that I'm what they call me, a clown, and that I don't know what I'm talking about. When, come on, obviously they haven't watched the video and seen what I'm talking about. Watch how people post things on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and they word things to get themselves out of trouble because they don't know. They're just wording it just in case they get right. Then they can be like, oh, well, look, I was right.
Yeah, my dad always taught me if there was a double if rule, if somebody starts a conversation with if this happens, then if this happens, and he was just like, anytime you get in those conversations, he says there's no solid, substance to it.
No, and that's exactly everything that it is, man. It's all if this or if that. And the facts remain that the only thing the Indianapolis Colts have stated themselves is that they didn't think that it was a big deal, that it wasn't a major thing, and that they didn't think it needed surgery. And then they sent all of his medical tests to the foot surgeon. The foot surgeon saw him, and then today it stated Wentz is probably just going to go out there, or that Wentz has decided to rest and relax. Most likely, from what it sounds like, off the recommendation, which also sounds like what the Colts stated in their original stuff. And the original things the Colts factually stated. Everything else from guys like Ian Rappaport and all of them, everything else that they've stated, it's all assumptions. They post in the ifs, whats, and maybes and things like that to make you think that's exactly what's going on. They're getting all this factual information from the Colts when in fact they haven't. When they get factual information from them, they state it as a fact. Anything else, they state a maybe or if, and you're not reading those. And because you're not reading those, it snowballs into worse and worse and worse scenarios. It's awful. What's going on, Truett? Truett's one of my newest members of Patreon. So is Chang Andrew and Matthew Stansberry. Thank you guys for joining me on Patreon. I appreciate you so much. Loyalist and I, we've been doing Patreon-only videos where we post live streams like this to only Patreon. Patreon members can only get in the chat. Patreon members can only actually join the stream. Like last night when Ross joined the stream with us for 2 hours. We sat here and talked. We was on here so long, Loyalist's phone died. All right?
Yes, and it was fully charged when we started.
Right? But that's how it works, man. It's only $5 a month, and then you can get in on this stuff. Now, granted, you could still watch it afterwards, because 24 hours later, I'll hit it to public, which means you guys right now can see what we did yesterday. But come on, $5, that ain't nothing. That's a Starbucks coffee, right? Once a month. It's not much at all. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry I had to get that out because I'm about done with Twitter and Reddit and Facebook and Instagram today. All right.
I have one question on this topic, and then I'll let you be. Is it that you're mad about the reporting from Ian Rappaport, or are you mad about the way people are reading his article and not acknowledging that it's hyperbole?
I'm a little mad because Ian and these guys, when Ian reported originally, he worded it in a way that sounded factual, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was done with the intent to make people believe it was factual, which is why people are in a frenzy and have gotten up in a frenzy and are currently, even after the doctors have apparently looked over it and gave Wentz their opinion, and Wentz has decided to sit down. They're saying, have the surgery anyhow. Even though, who knows? I mean, he might have stubbed his freaking toe, and now you're saying, go have surgery. Come on now, guys. I mean, it's the doctors and the players to make the decision. They know what's going on. Ian Rappaport don't know what's going on. Otherwise, he would have stated, well, I talked to the insiders, and this is exactly what they said. Ian's that kind of person. He will tell you, if something is exact factual, and he hasn't done that at all. The only thing he has ever said that this is facts and this is what's happened is what the Colts have already said. That they didn't think it was serious and they didn't think it needed surgery.
And it just seems like because, like I said, for me, it's like, hey, let's get more views, more clicks or whatever, because you know what? The sad state of affairs is waiting and seeing is not going to sell anything. Waiting and seeing is not going to get anything. That's how the Colts are dealing with it. And I hope that's how, the true Colts fans are dealing with it, is just let's wait and see. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? But that doesn't sell.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm going to get away from the Carson Wentz thing a little bit because this is not supposed to be about Carson Wentz. All right, that just happened an hour after I was like, you know what, we're going to do this about the weekend review. I see guys in here like Joe Schmidt and Brandon Ace over here and Haniff and all these guys, Truitt. All you guys are wanting to know, breakdown of this past week's camp, of what we saw with our own eyes. And now that's going to do. Greg Doyle's always going to say the sky is falling. He is Chicken Little. Have you seen him? I mean, come on. But that it's just facts right there, Sensation sells. Ross, you got it darn right. That's how it is. Okay. Pads come on tomorrow, Joe. Pads come on tomorrow along with Frank Reich. And guess who's going to be there tomorrow? Our one and only. Right?
Sir.
What's going on? What you planning on doing tomorrow?
I am going to go and watch as much as I can, and I'm so excited to get to see Coach actually at work. I mean, it's been a couple years, since you've been able to go out there and just watch him piece this thing together, and just, like I said, just find some normalcy, find the, the things that you can see and stuff that, like you said, they're not going to be reported, publicly or whatever, It's going to be more of the, negative and sensationalized. And I'm just there to, like I said, see what I can see. I'm going to record it and talk to you about it, and then we'll discuss it together.
Sensation sells. That is perfect hyperbole for the reports of camp all week last week, because Joe Schmidt right here says, I hear Quiddy is making our left tackles look bad. That's a sensational report. They are overhyping that. I like what I've seen from Quiddy Pay, but there have been multiple times where even Loyalist will tell you, because he's been focused on that trench, this every time we're down there, there's been times Quiddy's been stonewalled and dropped, right?
Yeah. And like I said, you see, normally they're doing a 2-play rotation or whatever, but every time that happens, you see the coaches just jump right in, pull them out of the rotation, stick somebody else in there, and they use that time to coach, and that's awesome. It's week 1. He's a rookie. Like we discussed last night, you don't learn from your successes, you learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
So I hope he's out there just messing everything up.
No, man. Quiddy has had his moments. Kamiko Toure has had his moments. All the defensive linemen. Grover Stewart's had moments that he's looked like DeForest Buckner out there. All right. There's been moments,
Yes.
for everyone. There's been moments for Holden. I've seen Holden grab a hold of Teray and darn near body slam him. But I've seen Teray make Tevy look stupid. But then there's been moments where I watched Tevy take Kwity Paye and make him just stand there like a statue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's give and take. It's what we see. The reporters out here at camp, when they state stuff, they see a play or two and it sticks with them, and then they move on. And then that's an assumption for the rest of the week, of what's going on. And the fact remains that no player, there's only been a few players, in my opinion, that have been consistently performing incredibly well all week, right?
Yeah.
Incredibly well. And we're going to get to that. Who is a player that you have seen with your own eyes, the times that we've been to camp, that you felt has exceeded expectations or have played at a higher level than what everybody else, that has caught your eye consistently?
Well, like I told you, the way Big Q, and he hasn't exceeded because I went in, but I'll tell you what, just want to say this. I mean, watching him hit and reset against DeForest. Guys, you're talking about you want to see Aaron Donald and Quentin Nelson. I'm telling you what, go to training camp and watch them two guys go at it. It's like a slugfest with the whole martial arts thing going on. It's the hand and the resetting and stuff was really impressive.
Yeah.
But as far as, somebody that went out there and really jumped out, I mean, and I mean, this isn't, I didn't know what to expect from Jacob Eason. So just going out there, seeing the big arm, and no, he hasn't been, 90%. No, he's had his ups and downs, but there again, I mean, I understand he's not a rookie, but as far as playing time goes, he's that, in first year, and guys, he really does lead the receivers. He really does have that feel and stuff. Now, yes, I understand that, that feel is coming and going, but that's what these reps are for. And like I said, I am very, very pleased and very positive because he was a big question mark for me whenever we went first on Wednesday. But man, I mean, it's not all been perfect, but there's definitely been some things there that have really got me pumped.
Absolutely. Anthony Hurt, what's going on? Appreciate Wyatt Law. Avery Watkins, ain't seen your name in here in a while. Appreciate you being here. Anthony asked what I'm sipping on. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier, but I had bought in Taco Bell, and this is a sweaty cup of Mountain Dew. Really cold and just water dripping everywhere. But that's what I'm drinking on. Yeah. But no, man, the food from Taco Bell was awful. Oh my goodness. I asked for a Taco Supreme and I got meat and cheese, and that was it. And I'm like, really? This is a Taco Supreme? But anyhow, Ross, what up, my guy, with a super sticker? Thanks so much, man. Appreciate that. Don't forget, guys, you can please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell if you want to be notified when I go live. Make sure all notifications are turned on because YouTube is freaking crazy stupid like that. And yes, I am full of energy because I am riding that heat wave that I have had for quite some time now. Also, don't forget, check out, I have a super chat right down here in the description. Please use that if you can, Ross. I understand that you were having issues with it a couple days ago, but give it a shot. If you could use it, that'd be great. I get 96% of that super chat that I have in the description of the video as opposed to using YouTube. Don't forget, man, Patreon, the link is in there as well. And Newsbreak. All you got to do is download the app, right? And give me a follow. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law, then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. What's going on, David Abner? Appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Ross sending me a hot dog. Oh, man. Dude, you making me hungry because the Taco Bell just didn't do it. But anyhow, so I completely agree with you. I think a lot of people are downplaying what, going off of what you were saying earlier there, Loyalist. They're downplaying Jacob Eason, when in fact Jacob Eason has shown amazing things during training camp. Has he been perfect? Absolutely not. Carson Wentz wasn't perfect. Andrew Luck was never perfect in camp, right? I mean,
right.
Come on. And these are their first training camps on this team. First training camp that Eason's had in the NFL ever, right? I mean, come on. You're going to expect a learning curve here. But he has shown great arm strength, pretty darn good accuracy. He's already got links down with Jack Doyle, Paris Campbell. I'm telling you, those two right there, that's been a really special connection in camp.
Yeah.
Between Jack Doyle and Paris Campbell and Jacob Eason. That has been a very special connection so far. Has he thrown some picks? Yeah. A couple of them weren't his fault. They were tipped passes. A couple of them were his fault. Does he look great on the move? No. Didn't expect him to. I've said that for a while. I'm hoping that they use this training camp and preseason to kind of work on that a little bit, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I love his mentality. He's not going out there and it's not too big for him. He's not going out there and trying to win the position outright. He's just trying to win the play, win the next play. Okay, I messed up on this one. Let me figure it out and then win the next play. I mean, he's not sitting there going with this Hollywood, idea of just going out there and becoming the starter, second week of training camp.
Exactly. Schmidt sitting here saying, was it Schefter that dropped the luck bomb, during the Bears preseason game? They live for this. Yeah. And it's true. And guys, I'm trying so hard to kind of get away from that. All right. I got a whole video, 8-minute video rant of me just going the freaking off. All right. Go check it out after the live stream. Because, you'll understand. You'll see where I'm coming from. But
was there somebody that you were really, surprised or pleasantly pleased with?
There was a few people I've been pleasantly surprised and pleased with. Kamiko Toure, I think I've been very, very pleased with his performance. I think that he's shown his burst. I think he shows good movement around the edge. He's showing counter moves that is working really well in his favor. I think he's had a very good camp. People are blowing up Bobby Okereke. Obviously, he's done well. I mean, you've seen it specifically. But while you were watching him, I'm looking at guys like Marlon Mack, who has just been phenomenal to me. I think Marlon Mack has exceeded my expectations in this camp so far through week 1.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, like we were talking about earlier the other day, he looks. If you were to match him up this week in training camp versus last year in training camp before the injury, guys, I mean, I wasn't there last year, I know, but I mean, everything you've seen in the game, I don't see any difference. I don't see that, how you get that injury and stuff and you get that hitch or that lag or that hesitation in your mind or I don't see it. I mean, it just looks like everything you've seen during the games last year, the game last year. And it's what I imagine that probably training camp looked like last year.
Let me explain something to you. I was there at training camp in 2019. I was there. Mm-hmm. I watched Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack looks more confident than he did in 2019. He knows he's catching the football, and he knows what he's going to do with it immediately after catching the football. He looks better now than what he did in training camp in 2019. All right? That's my thought. That's why I was I expected even just a little slight hesitation because of the injury, and maybe a slight loss of step or a little slight less juice. No, I'm seeing everything at the same level, except his confidence is that much more.
Yeah.
Which puts me at believing Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor might have more of an equal share of carries than what a lot of people believe. You know, because I mean, Jonathan Taylor hasn't been a scrub out there either.
No, not at all.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor took a freaking bomb from Jacob Eason down the sideline, blowing away a linebacker, I think Matthew Adams, who can cover. You know, he's a coverage linebacker. Blew him away, and Eason led him perfectly. That was a streaking touchdown down the sidelines. Man, so our running backs, I mean, even Jordan Wilkins looks good.
Yeah.
Even that rookie from, was it Duke? I think he looks solid, right?
Yeah.
The only person that I don't know about is Naheem Hines because he hasn't been out there to actually, playing. He's been out there, but not playing.
And something else I wanted to mention, and I think our depth is really showing up in camp. I mean, you look at all these guys, and I mean, you go out, you look at all these guys that are, whether they're out, Naheem with the hip or whether it's a rest day for T.Y. I mean, we went there yesterday, guys. Kenny Moore, Xavier Rhodes, T.J. Carey. None of them are on the field. And you know what? The defense still overall probably won the day. I mean, the only real true starter that we had there at the time was, Rock Descent. And then, of course, you have the safeties. But, I mean, these guys did not look like they were lost. They didn't – I mean, yes, they were getting beat. They were, they're not performing it to the Kenny Moores or the Xavier Rhodes. But yet you could still see the progression and see that the depth is improving. And I know I'm not happy about the injuries. I'm not happy about the COVID results and stuff. But I'm telling you right now, if it has to happen, now's the time. Now's, and I wish that sold more. I wish that was what got reported on more because, I mean, Isaac Rochelle, Danny Pinter, these guys looked really good out there yesterday. I mean, perfect, no, but they looked really good. Mm-hmm. And these are guys that, over the last couple of years, Ballard's brought in to help strengthen that depth. Will Fries had a real rough day yesterday. You know what I mean? But the thing was, you could see every time he'd have a conversation with the coach, he didn't repeat the same mistake, and like I said, I really respect that because, I mean, the growth these guys have to go through in these training camps, this is where the majority of what they get and carry into the year, this is where they get it, The year gets going and it's too busy.
Now, I am going to go with the guy. Now, I'm going to get to the chat here in just a minute, okay? We're both going to give a name of somebody that, has not lived up to any expectations and look worse. And I'm probably going to end up stealing Loyalist because I'm going to go first. But then I'm going to get to the chat and talk about what you guys are asking, especially a couple of you guys that I have noticed. Brandon, I will get to your questions. We were chatting earlier on Twitter and DMs, and so I brought him in from Twitter. Thank you for being here. So I feel like I owe him at least one answer. But guy that really has not lived up to the hype. And I don't know if you can call it hype. He was drafted. He was like a late 6th round draft, I think, or early 7th. I think he's late 6th. Was Ehlinger, right? And no, man, I am not overly fond of what I've seen from Ehlinger. Sam has been kind of. I'm not saying his accuracy is horrible. It's not at Jacob Eason's accuracy. Is he better on the run? Yes. But he does not have the arm strength. He looks like he's kind of, it almost looks like a shot put, when he's throwing the football. You never see zip from it. Everyone else on the field has more zip than him, like twice as much zip on the football than he does. And his accuracy isn't superb to make up for that. And that puts a little worry on me with Ehlinger, who's a guy that really hasn't lived up to the expectations that you were hoping to see coming into training camp.
I'm gonna amend that question a little bit, okay? Because I don't know that I expected to see a lot from this guy, but I hope to, okay? And I went out there, and that's Ben Bannigan. I went out there and I was really hoping to see that, he was going to go out there and and especially with some of the situations that, he's had running against Holden and Tevy and stuff and not being up against Fisher. I was sort of hoping to see him, and he has, don't get me wrong, he has gone out there and there's been some quick flashes and stuff. But as an overall, I mean, I guess I just was really hoping with his situation and with the heat that he's been taking and the stance that he took through the press conferences and stuff, I just really wanted to see him just come in and just shut everybody up. And for me personally, I don't feel like the needle has moved a great deal.
And I want to post this with saying something very important. I'm human. Loyalist is human. All the Colts reporters at camp are human. We can only watch so much of each play in each part of the field at a time. So we don't see what everybody's doing at every point of the time. I can't record this and go back over it like all 22 and go, this guy did great, this guy did great. We're only reporting what we've seen. We may not see what someone else sees because we're watching something else. Okay, so we're just giving what we see. And I want you guys to understand that because, people say, well, this guy did great or this guy did bad or this guy, is so-so. And then someone else might say the complete opposite, but they might not have been seeing that player during the same times that someone else was seeing him. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people are on different parts of the field. They're on separate fields. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of bodies out there. So, you can't watch everything.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Buck Dancer? Gary says Paris looks good too. Paris looks phenomenal. He's the best receiver. He's looked better than any other receiver on the Colts in camp. Unquestionably.
Yes. Yeah, because I agree. I mean, Paris, as far as the consistency and the explosion. I mean, Michael Pittman came out and he looked a little rough on Wednesday, but I felt like he really redeemed himself on Saturday when we were there. And I've heard, that Thursday and Friday, you've sort of seen that progression with him. But yeah, Paris Campbell, I mean, that number one looks good on him. That GoPro looks good on him. This dude just makes everything just look fast.
Yes, it does. Zach Erlinson, what up, my guy? Could JT and Mack both be 1,000-yard backs this year? I'm going to say yes, but.
Whoa. Really?
Dropping a butt. Dropping the butt. Okay.
No.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're both going to get 1,000 yards rushing this year. Will they both have 1,000 yards this year? I could see that. If you add all-purpose yards, I could see both of them having over 1,000 with rushing and receiving. Because remember, Marlon Mack, he's really good out of the backfield receiving the football, and I'm telling you he is. A lot of you people don't think he is, but that had to do with the way the scheme was early on. Last year, late in 2019, when he played last year in that first game, late in 2019 when you watched him, he was taking those swing passes and making those catches and doing amazing stuff with them. Every time he caught a pass, you've seen him run and pick up 15 to 30 yards. Even that pass that got him hurt, he caught it over the middle, was turning to go upfield. That was still a 15-yard reception, but he went down with an Achilles. Jonathan Taylor looking pretty darn good in the receiving game as well. He did drop a ball, but, he made an absolute fantastic catch on that what I was talking about with the Eason bomb down the sideline. So could they both get 1,000 yards? Yes, but it'd be all-purpose yards. I don't see them both getting 1,000 yards on the ground. As some of you in here have stated, that is a tall order.
Yeah. That's why I was like, really?
All right. Now, I said I was going to get to Brandon's question. He says, you're good. Take your time. I have to scroll back up because I barely tapped it and it went all the way back down. And that's crap. Okay, Zach Pascal, does he have a breakout year? With that, does he at least get like 800 or 900 yards and 8 or 10 touchdowns? I'm going to let Loyalist give his opinion on that first.
Is he capable of it? Absolutely. Do I believe that it will happen now? And like I said, I'm expecting, Paris Campbell to stay healthy, T.Y. Hilton to come back and his numbers to build. So to sit there and say that I think he's going to get 800 and 900 yards, I don't think so. But to sit there and say 550, and maybe 5 touchdowns, I think that, with the way they spread it out and with our offense, and then, there's so many people to feed. I don't see that Zach would get that much because we use him too much in the blocking and in downfield plays like that.
I'm going to have to agree 100% with Loyalist. Is he capable of it? I believe so. But there's too much depth on offense between running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. I mean, he's wide receiver 4, in my opinion, on this team currently, as it sits. Because you got T.Y., you got Michael Pittman, you got Paris Campbell, then you got Zach Pascal. Okay? Now, the one thing that is in Pascal's favor is that he is a great run blocker out on the edge, and that'll help him be on the field more often, which might get him more snaps and more targets, things of that nature, over a guy like Paris Campbell or T.Y. Hilton. But target-wise, I'm expecting a really good year in the passing game this year, and like I said, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that if Paris stays healthy, I explained this to you in the DMs, I think if Paris stays healthy and does what we all believe he can do, I think Zach Pascal will be on a different team next year. Because I don't think that the Colts will re-sign him, because I think they'll do him a favor and let another team offer some big money for him. Because they had a second-round tender on him this year, and no one used it. All right? No one offered a second-round pick for Zach Pascal. Brandon's a Ravens fan, by the way, and the Ravens could absolutely use Zach Pascal because he is a big-bodied, catching receiver, that 50-50 catch guy that is very good in the run game, right? Blocking in the run game. So he'd be perfect for the Ravens. I'm not going to say he wouldn't be. I love him on the Colts. I'd hate to see him go, but with all the talent I think the Colts have, that's just been brewing and unable to blossom due to injuries, I think we might end up losing Pascal next year. What do you think about what I just said?
I understand it, but now, guys, this is where Law's the analyst guy. I'm the fan guy. No, no, like you said, I know you're not saying you want him going. I understand, but like you said, I do see now here again. I this year, and until our receivers can prove that they can stay healthy for an entire season, man, Zach Pascal is an awesome piece to have to support the receiving. And to in other words, if a T.Y. misses a game or a Paris or a Pittman, I don't see any drop off by putting Pascal in. Like I said, in certain areas, like in run blocking and stuff, I see advantages. Now, I'm not saying he's fast as T.Y., and I don't know what it was, but when I get out there, and that was, I don't know if you remember, but I was like, how tall is Pascal again? I mean, I seen him, and I was just like, hokey smokes, because for some reason, I just always pictured him as 5'11", 6 foot. But no, he's a solid 6'2", and we've lost the stream.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. So,
That's
yeah,
fine.
like I said, Zach Pascal is definitely somebody that, really can fit in pretty well. And yeah, I don't want to lose him. That's it. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine, man. And I get you. I'm checking something out. Okay, so this is an interesting question. I'm sorry. I hit a tab there and blocked it over with Google, and that was my bad. Sorry about that, guys. Anthony Hurt has a good question. I had to look it up real quick. He says that the Dome in New Orleans name has changed. Yes, I saw that as well. It's still the Superdome, but it adds, the other company that just bought it. How long does Lucas Oil have that contract? Now, in 2006, it was a 20-year contract. So, 2026. There you go.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. Yeah. That's why that stupid page popped up and I wasn't paying attention. I opened the wrong page. So my bad. Ross, hearing a lot of positives. Are there any negatives or concerns that you've taken away from Colts camp? Loyalist.
Okay. I would sit there and say that I'm not giving up on it, but I am concerned with, Strawn has done a couple plays, but I just don't see, Strawn or Pittman. I mean, I don't even know that I can recall of a play where Pittman, stood out for me or anything. So I guess I just was hoping one of these bigger, younger guys to sit there and really jump out. And I understand, I get it. It's week 1. So just, but I guess I was just hoping to see a little more spark from one of those guys.
I've seen Pittman. I've seen Strawn. I've seen them both because, Gary Thompson brings up Des Pittman. I've seen them both. A guy I've seen more of than either of those is DeMichael Harris.
Yes.
Seeing a lot of DeMichael Harris out there on the field. Not necessarily doing superbly, but he's out there making plays and doing things as opposed to where I'm at least noticing him more than I'm noticing number 10 or number 17. So that is what it is,
I didn't take the low-hanging fruit, but I do want to say I am a little concerned with Carson not being there, with them not getting all the reps in and stuff that were available, at least, going into training camp. That is something that, like I said, I'm not thinking at the end of the world or anything, but I do wish that would have been able to stay on path this training camp.
Scott C., normally I wouldn't bring this up. I'm just going to make a really quick mention of it, and then we're going to move on because I kind of try to stay away from political stuff here on Colts Law, as most of you know. But he does say, in his opinion, reporters should not be asking players or the staff if they have been vaxxed. That's a private info, and they should focus on football. Now, to me, I agree. I agree because it is a personal decision. But I understand why they do it, because there are a lot of fans out there that want to know,
and if I'm not mistaken, that the local media, that day one they were peppering these guys with that question.
It wasn't just day one. It's day 1, day 2, day 3. Every time they interviewed them, someone new. That's almost the first question that came out of their mouths.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I didn't notice it as much after day 1 for me.
Yeah, it had to do because they already asked that question to that player the previous day,
Okay.
And then when they come up to someone different that they haven't interviewed yet, that question comes out, But yeah, I agree with you, but I generally don't talk about stuff like that because this is, I try to stay kind of out of the politics. 2 things I don't like talking about: politics and religion, because I'm guaranteed to anger 50% of you if I talk about it. Okay, because that's just how it is in the world. 50% of the people in the world believe one thing, 50% of the people in the world believe another. And I don't want to lose you guys because I'm here just to give you Colts information, and that's that. All right? Let your beliefs be your beliefs. All the more power to you. All right. Paris has the opportunity to be our number 1 this year, Millsap says, and I really, especially the way camp's coming. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not just Eason that Paris has looked good with. Paris has looked good with every one of the quarterbacks. He made number 6, not number 4, Jalen Morton. He made Jalen Morton look good yesterday. All right. Jalen Morton threw him a ball. He had his man beat dead to rights, heading towards the end zone. And Morton threw a pass that was way too short. All right, for Pittman. Pittman stops at a dime, turns back, comes back to the ball, gets in front of the defender, jumps, high points the ball for a 45-yard reception. All right. That's what the kind of stuff I'm seeing. Not just the speed and the stuff. I'm seeing things I didn't expect to see from Paris Campbell in this camp.
Yeah. Yep, I agree completely. I mean, I remember, Jacob Eason. It looked he let that ball go, and I was like, "There's no way Paris is going to get to this." And his body didn't, but he caught it with these last 4 fingers. I was like, and then he just brought it back to himself, and I was just like, man. I was like, save some of that for Sunday.
Oh my goodness, Paris is just—he looks like a superstar out there, right?
Yeah.
You know who he reminds me of, and I don't want to say this because it kind of. Training camp is training camp. We have training camp stars every freaking year, and then something goes wrong, right? Yeah. It happens every year. But I'm telling you, Paris Campbell reminds me of a certain Buffalo wide receiver the way he's playing out there. Okay? Yeah. That's what I'm seeing out of Paris Campbell. What's up, Kayvon Jack Star? Appreciate you being here. Let's keep on. How did Eason look with the first team? Like we said earlier, Eason had his ups, had his downs. He had a stretch there where he didn't look all that great. He was a little bit inaccurate. He had to roll out to avoid pressure and throw the football. And I'm hoping he was just throwing the football away to avoid a sack.
Oh,
because he overthrew him 20 yards. Okay. I am not even joking. But then there was times when he was hitting people back to back to back to back, Yep. In tight coverage or down the field. Him to Jack Doyle was an absolute fantastic combination yesterday, man. He hit Jack Doyle 3 different times, and 2 of them were deep shots. One where Jack Doyle, he would have looked stupid had he not thrown it to Jack Doyle because Jack Doyle put Khari Willis on skates.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And this is coming from...
Khari was looking there, and all of a sudden he's like, well, how'd that happen?
Yeah, we're talking about the 30-plus-year-old tight end that everybody says is too old and we need to move on from. All right, Jack Doyle put Khari Willis on some skates. He put a move on him and then cut back the other way, and the next thing you know, he had 6 yards separation from Khari Willis. And Jacob's just like, catch that for 40 yards.
I'm telling you right now, some of these old dogs do have some good tricks.
Right? Exactly. Ross, that Colts top 10 defense is going to make the Titans look foolish. Especially if Julio Jones is too busy, trying to sell stuff on the sidelines.
Whoops.
Not going to get into it, but
okay.
We know what I'm talking about, right, guys? Yep. Everybody knows the Julio Jones story that's going on. All right, he may not be playing this year, and if that's the case, the Titans are a 2-trick pony. But we'll see. All right, moving on. Hurt says he's a Mack fan all the way. Then I think you're going to love Mack this year. I think so. Schmidt says that we'll sweep the Titans. Well, it depends. Like I said, it depends upon what goes on with Julio Jones. I got us splitting with the Titans. I think Loyalist has us splitting with the Titans this year.
Yep.
They're not a bad team. They're a good team. They're a good well-ran organization, well-coached organization, in my opinion. They've got some superstars. They went out and got hopefuls on their defense, when you're talking about like Danico Autry and Bud Dupree and things like that. So we'll see what's up with that.
For me, to sit there and predict a sweep for a team, I feel like the gap between the 2 teams, from week 3 to week 7, so much can happen in that time. They could be 2 totally separate games. You know what I mean? So when a team is close, I just can't see how you can predict a sweep.
Yeah. Ross, he's bringing up last night's Patreon stream, basically. He says, would people here watch Lawrence and Chuck talk about food, booze, cars, and other stuff? Because that's what it ended up being last night.
Yes, it did.
We ended up talking about all sorts of stuff. That's what we do on Patreon. We'll start off talking about Colts or whatever, you guys want to talk about. And then it just kind of rolls to what you guys want to talk about, right?
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people getting together and just having a conversation, right? And if you want solid info and you want to ask questions about the Colts or an NFL team or something like that, and you want info like that, absolutely. But if you want to talk about, you know what, I want a 74 Datsun, because that's someone's dream car that we talked about last night, right?
Yeah.
So, we talk about stuff like that as well. So,
and I'll tell you right now, I'd like to say shout out to Ross. I think him joining us and stuff, it gives a nice different texture. You guys get to see us all the time. It was nice to have Ross in here and just other people's, Joe Schmidt and them just sitting there having comments. I enjoyed
it. Easy E on the radio. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys are way too young to remember that rap song from Easy E. But says I'm dropping my search history. No, I wasn't. I don't think that was my search history. I think that was just my search bar at the time, Sorry. Oh, the phone's ringing. Give me a second. Oh, that's the IRS. They need money. Oh, no. They found out Ross is my donator.
No, come on. We know that's your direct line to the Colts. Come on now.
Right. Yeah. That was Frank Wright telling me that if I'm not there tomorrow, then I'm fired. All right, what's up? Purity Empire, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. You're not subscribed. 42 viewers in here. Loyalist, 42. We're 45 minutes into the stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm excited for Quiddy and Kylan, he says. Granson's shown some spark here and there. First couple days, not so much, but yesterday, I seen a little bit of Kylan out there. Yeah.
Yes, you did. And I'll tell you right now, I know tomorrow that's one of the guys that I'm going, first day in pads. I just want to see what the blocking, see what the technique is and stuff. I'm very interested to see that up close and personal.
Yeah, because we all know, if you follow me and I, my whole, when I asked Kylan Granson, about his blocking, and I said, I think you could block, but everybody else says you don't. You can't block well. And he was just like, I would like to respectfully disagree. Brandon, do you think your young pass rushers will be able to replace Autry and Houston? Like, replace what they were able to do? Something else that we had discussed over on the DMs, over on Twitter. Thanks for bringing that back up, Brandon, because from what we saw in camp, there's a few things. What's going on here? Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Yeah, no, like you said, Quiddy was out there. He's having good learning moments and stuff. I really liked what I seen from Isaac Rochelle. Kamoko Ture was, so, when you say the young guys, are you talking about the rookies? I don't like to put that much on a rookie myself. I'm much more, let this guy come in, let him mature it, especially at the D line. We've seen year 2, year 3. So, yes, do I think Quiddy can come in and acclimate a little bit quicker than some of the previous players over the last few years? Yes. Do I see the explosion? But to sit there and think that he's going to support or replace, the numbers that we've lost with mostly Justin Houston, I don't know. Because Justin Houston, sacks did he end up with last year?
Like 8.5.
Yeah. See, and I'm putting Quiddy somewhere around the 6, like I said, 5, 6 sacks. So I don't know that he would get quite that many. But I think there again, the depth that has been brought in, somebody that looked amazing. And I know this ain't a D end or anything, but Antoine Woods looked really good yesterday. So yes, I think our D line I was a little more, before I went and seen him, I was a little more thinking, okay, we may drop off in the sacks this year. But I can say that after watching him stuff, that the verdict is less confident in my mind that we're going to have a drop off. Now I'm like, okay, let me see some more and let's see, you know what I mean? Because I do feel like that we could replace a lot of them, you know, with an assortment of guys.
Yeah. And it also has a lot to do with health. The way I'm watching Teray out there, man, he looks awesome. Brian Walton, my guy, thank you so much. I'm going to get to my conversation about that in a second. Brian Walton donates $10 right here on Streamlabs with the link down below in the description. He says, what up, Law? What drills was Eric Fisher running? Think he'll be ready by the beginning of the season? Let me get my answer real quick about the pass rush, and then we will go straight to talking about Eric Fisher. All right? Appreciate the donation, though. If you guys want your question answered, that's how to do it. Brian knows what's up. Appreciate that, man. As for the pass rush, it all has to do with health, right? Teray looks absolutely fantastic and has looked fantastic before. It's just, can he stay healthy and stay on the field, right? I think Teray legitimately is an 8 to 10 sack guy if he could stay healthy for an entire season. I really do believe that. Something that I think has been undersold this camp is Grover Stewart. Grover Stewart has looked incredibly explosive coming off that one tech. And you can't sell that short, okay? Because if Grover Stewart takes that next step with Buckner beside him, that's going to be maybe the nastiest interior pass rush in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's something it's worth. Because last year, Grover Stewart got some penetration back there. Just wasn't able to land too many times. But he got pressures. And he got a lot of tackles for losses.
Yeah, and I think because of the youth and the speed that we're going to be able to bring, I mean, no knock on Justin Houston, but his speed, he'd become much more of a
technical
strength type of, I'm sorry?
Technical.
Yeah,
technique.
Just using, technique and strength and just, you know, I mean, Kwity Paye, I mean, I don't think that he's going to have quite the technique. Man, he's just going to have that speed and that relentless, pursuit that I think is going to help out the entire defensive line.
All right, so let's get into Brian Walton's question about Eric Fisher and what he's been doing, and if we think that he'll be ready for the beginning of the season. What we've seen from Eric Fisher is he's by himself. He's not got, the uniform on, but we'll see him start at one end of the field and then take off quick, hard start on that Achilles. He'll hard start on the Achilles, sprint across, and do a hard stop on that Achilles. And to me, that's showing that he is progressing incredibly fast. And I honestly cannot take out the fact that he's doing it so well right now that he might have a uniform and pads on in the next few weeks. Not necessarily going full out practice, but doing individuals and stuff. Which means, if we see that, there's an absolute chance that he could be ready week one.
Yeah, and something I really noticed was after every time that Q and them come out, first person you seen, coming up to Q and stuff was Fisher, and they were just sort of looked like they were discussing, okay, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? You just seen a good connection and dialogue between Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, and Eric Fisher. I mean, they look like the three big amigos. You know what I mean? Just like you said, you could just see that he wasn't out there doing the routes and stuff or doing the plays, but you could see that he was having the mental reps and he was going through and discussing, what if this happens type of thing. So I love seeing that.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Brian. That's only what we saw, okay? And we can only go off of what we saw. We obviously are not talking to the trainers or the doctors or anything like that. For some reason, they have ignored my calls. Hopefully, maybe I'll call their wives and maybe they'll do a little bit of, spying for me. I don't know. That would be a source. No. Zero sources.
There you go.
I am my own source. Okay, so I got this from DPN, Dear Pats Nation, Ray Routes, his merch shop. And he's got one of my sweatshirts. So it's something that we did for each other. Speaking of merch shops, you see me with my hat. You see Loyalist sporting a couple of my merchandise items. The link to my merch shop is in the description if you want to give support my channel in that specific way. A lot of great items in there, man.
Top quality, guys. Top quality.
I really appreciate it. I mean, thanks for everyone who has bought my merch in the past. Let's get back into the chat now, because we've been an hour and I still got 36 people in here. Are you still good to go, Loyalist?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your phone's not dying?
All right. I will work on that one.
Easy E says, I've heard a lot of people complain about the new number change. What's your thoughts about it?
I don't have a problem with it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I go out there and I'm not a quarterback. I'm just a guy that, I mean, so if I'm want to know about a player or a team or whatever, I'm going to know what their number is. I'm not going to go out there and every week and be like, who was that? Now I know certain quarterbacks have complained about how it's going to be harder and stuff. Like I said, from a fan point, I have no problem. And Paris Campbell makes that number one. He's going to do Pat McAfee proud.
Okay. I don't have a problem with the number change. It allows guys to play. Now, I understand that it's going to kind of mess up some of the vets, especially at quarterback, because you're going to be like, why is there a number 11 at linebacker, right? Am I supposed to throw to him? Number 11, that's got to be a wide receiver, right? So I get that, but at the same time, it kind of opens things up a little bit, because there are so many players out there that play multiple positions, like Nyheim Hines, right? I mean, he could be a slot wide receiver, and slot wide receivers ain't going to have the number 32 or, whatever, as a running back generally does, Yeah. I'm not saying Nyheim Hines has the number 30, that's 21, but wide receivers don't have 21 either, They can now, but they didn't before.
Right.
So, yeah, I get it. I understand.
After being at camp, shoot, you got multiple players wearing the same number. So, now, as far as to notice a difference, no.
Scott C., any observations about the coaching staff, such as the new offensive coordinator? Yes. Marcus Brady is a very active coach. He reminds me, when it comes to being active, he kind of reminds me a lot of our previous offensive coordinator, where you would see him out there running along with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and the running backs and doing things of that nature and giving them the personal ups and stuff like that. I see a lot of that. He's a very active coordinator. I also see a lot of his history in the play calling. Okay? I'm seeing more RPOs and rollouts and things of that nature that you would generally see from the CFL, which, he's won championships in. Him and Scott Milanovich, right?
Yeah.
I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I hope I got it right. That might be the first time I've ever gotten his name right off the bat. Kind of difficult to hit that right on the nail on the head. But you're seeing a little bit more CFL college style kind of plays happening out there on the field, and I think that has a lot to do with Milanovic and Brady being at the positions that they're at. What do you think, Loyalist?
Well, you actually pointed that out to me as far as, because I really wasn't there again. I was trying to dig into the trenches, and what I was seeing, was with those guys and how they were addressing the rookies and how they were, dealing with not just the rookies, but, whenever things didn't go according to plan and stuff, and how they were dealing and coaching, and they weren't just, out there yelling at them and pulling them and making them think about. They were sitting down and discussing, and you could tell. He's like, if this is doing, and this is doing, and this is why you do it. So like I said, I from those guys, I really liked, and I think that's what the Colts are really good at, is just developing these guys, and that's why I'm like, hey, if it doesn't happen year one, don't give up on. You know what I mean? Like they've said repeatedly, these guys are developed at their own pace. The coaches, the coaching staff, why, just all the interior coaching, I just have been deeply impressed with their interactions. Get it?
Did you see it? All right, there was a fly flying right there in front of my face. I almost snatched that sucker out of midair. But so you mentioned this about the coaches kind of working with the younger player. This is a young team, offensively and defensively, and they have to develop these guys, right? These ain't veterans coming in from other teams most of the time. It's in-house guys that they've went out and they've drafted, and they're developing themselves. And it's great to have coaches that are willing to spend that extra time one-on-one with guys and develop them. Like when I heard that Matt Eberflus sat down with Jacob Eason, during lunch.
All the quarterbacks, yeah.
And sat down and asked him questions. What can I do to help you play your position better? That made me, big smile on my face, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that you want to see from a team. Yeah, you're playing offense versus defense, but you're on the same team, both trying to win for the team. And if your defensive guy could help by saying, teaching them how to read a coverage and what to expect from certain coverages, and this is this type of player, how you can benefit from using his style against him, things of that nature. These coaches are out there putting forth that extra time to teach and develop these young guys, and that is why I think the Colts are as good as they are for as young as they are.
Yeah, and I just love that. You think about a lot of these guys are coming from college, and I'm not saying that they're not professional. The Colts are very professional, but they sort of created this more brotherhood, more college type atmosphere, or what I've mentally associate to college football. Whereas, pros are, we're all pros, we're making $1 million. No, these guys have no problem holding each other accountable, and these guys have no problem with some of the better relationships you see are between the offensive and defensive guys. It's not always just these guys in my room. Like I said, football's a team sport. Why wouldn't you take every aspect of the team to help use those as resources to make yourself better? And I think the Colts are excellent at that.
Yeah, I know I'm way behind on the chat here because I'm just now getting up to LA Rams. What's going on? Appreciate you being here. He says, hit that like button. Thank you. Please do that, man. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Oh, don't forget, there's a share button right beneath Loyalist right there, right? Little share button where you can hit it, copy, paste to your different social medias or whatnot. It's awesome. That's one great way that you could help support me. Even if you can't support me because you financially you just can't afford to join Patreon, or you can't do like what Brian Walton did earlier, or things of that nature. Man, hitting the like button's a great way. Downloading the Newsbreak app that's in the description down here and giving me a follow on that's a way to support me financially. Believe it or not, I make money every person that does that. Every person that downloads that Newsbreak app and gives me a follow using that link in the description, I make money off of. Ain't that cool?
Yes, and guys, we're just trying to get out in front of more people. The more people we can to save them from all that national media. Just kidding. I had to bring it up one time.
No, well, I mean, look, not all national media is bad all the time.
Right.
But they're going to spin any story they can into whatever they can to get views and clicks. Guys, you know what I do to get views and clicks? Give you the facts as I see them straight. Okay? You're not getting BS from me. You're getting what I see in my personal opinion. And when I say it's my opinion, it's my opinion. When it's a fact that I'm throwing out there, then you know it's a fact. I'm not going to go out here and say, that there's no way that Carson Wentz is not going to have surgery. There's a possibility he has surgery. That's just not in the books right now, apparently, by what has been reported. Okay? That's all I'm saying. All right? So that's me. That's what you're getting from me. Fabio Lorenzo, what's going on, man? He's been following me on Twitter forever. I appreciate you being in here, man. Do you see any chances of us keeping 7 wide receivers? If Pittman and Strawn keep showing that sheer potential, I can see Ballard doing that. I'm going to let Loyalist take that first.
7's too many. I mean, now if you're saying, 6 on the roster and 1 tucked away on practice squad, okay. But to sit there and say making the 53-7 receivers, I mean, yes, we have a very diversified receiving corps, but we also have a very diversified defensive line. We also have a very deep off. I mean, you start keeping that many of these young possible talents, you're going to lose some of your depth and stuff in other positions. So for me, I think 7 would be just too big to ask that on the 53.
Okay. 7's a reach. It is. I'm kind of agreeing here. Only because I see them keeping a lot of offensive and defensive linemen this year. They always do. Last year they kept 10 defensive linemen and 9 offensive linemen. I would not be surprised if they do the exact same thing this year. And that's going to really hurt. And what are you going to do? Are you going to cut an extra running back, right? For that, that'd be what you basically have to do. You'd have to go with 3 running backs and hope that you could get someone on the practice squad like the Duke running back, which the name is in the chat if you want to scroll back up. But I'm not going to do that because one of our great supporters on here dropped his name.
Jackson.
Yeah, Dion, right?
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I see 6. I see 6, but 7 is a real stretch, man. There's a lot of talent on this offense, and they got to fit them all in there somehow, and it's going to be difficult. I could see Strawn hitting the practice, Strawn or Pittman or someone like that, or DeMichael or someone getting on the practice squad. I could see a couple of those receivers on the practice squad, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our opinion. Ross, when's the next Patreon get together? Look at you already planning out how to do things. All right. We do a Patreon every time one of us comes back from camp. That's what our plan is. Whether it's both of us or just one of us, we're going to do a Patreon. So Loyalist is going tomorrow. We'll do a Patreon tomorrow. Now, when the Patreon is going to happen, I'm leaving that up to Loyalist because he's the one going to the camp tomorrow. I'm going to let him just kind of sit and chill. And, I don't know how he's going to feel when he gets home, because it's a drive and it's an experience and things of that nature. So it'll be later in the day when I announce it.
Okay. Yeah. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to you, but my father-in-law is going in surgery. So I have to sort of do it early because my wife's got to go take care of transporting him and stuff. So
well, good luck.
I would have to imagine it'll probably be sometime around 5 or 6 from my end of things.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that works out. Once we know We'll get that information. I will get that information on Patreon as soon as possible. I will DM everybody on Patreon, just like I did yesterday. You know, all the patrons will get a DM on Patreon stating when that live stream will happen. So, just let you know. Oh, guys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes already, and we still got 30 people in here. What up? Any update on Odangbo? Zach Erlinson. We see him out there walking around, but we don't see him with any kind of jersey or anything like that on. He's out there supporting guys, talking with people. We'll see him running around a little bit, you know. He's not limping or anything of that nature that I'm seeing. So, but no real news to my knowledge. What about you, Loyalist?
No, only thing that sort of stood out to me, and I think we knew this, was I sort of used Eric Fisher just because of how close the timeline is from when they had, and I don't see him doing as much as we see Fisher as far as, you know, like you said, the start, stop. I didn't really see a whole lot of that from Dio. But outside of that, I like you said, I haven't seen him enough to know what his gait is or if he looks like he's, you know what I mean, but just from the naked eye, you know, you don't see anything that stands out either way.
Ant Rogers, he's my OG, my very first Patreon. What's up, my guy? How do y'all feel about Eason, and do you think we could rely on him this season if needed? I'm glad he added that. Yeah. From what he's shown, I think it's plausible. Interesting. Okay, first off, he might be needed from time to time this season. You don't know. You know, someone might end up with a little injury that, you know, keeps him out a game or two, or for, you know, part of a game or something. I mean,
or test positive or something, and where they miss a week. Yeah,
exactly. Or there could be some weird thing happening with Wentz's foot where, you know, it travels from the top of his foot to his ankle to his knee. And next thing you know, his shoulder, needing shoulder surgery because, you know, his foot. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Andrew Luck. But anyhow, no. Yes, I like where Eason's at right now. I think he's progressing well. He's learning fast. Like we said earlier, he's not perfect, but he showed a lot of stuff out there on the field this past week, especially the last couple days. He provides some really good stuff on the field, and I think he's learning from his mistakes, and that's what you need from him.
And I just want to reiterate this. I know, you know, yes, I think that he's, you know, shown the ability to, you know, but the thing is to use the word rely. I mean, honestly, if Jacob's in there, we're relying on the run game. You know what I mean? If Jacob's there, I mean, do I think it's serviceable? You know, do I think that, you know, we can get some wins under our belt with him? Yes. But to sit there, you know, I mean, the run game's always going to have to be, you know, our source of our motor.
Yep. Ross says he's grilling tonight. He's got to run. Peace out. Later, my guy. I'll talk to you later. Hope you have a good one. Delusional Patriots fan. What's going on, my guy? He says 6 wide receivers. Come on, that's greedy. Send 1 or 2 to wide receivers to New England. Maybe after we play you guys, but not before. Just saying, you know. Philip Benz asked about the Fisher update. We spoke about it earlier, not 10 minutes ago. You could always kind of scroll back right there on the YouTube and be able to see it if you weren't here when that happened. I don't know how long that chat post was in there. I'm sorry. Who's ready to see Eason throw the rocket? Anthony says, I've seen him throw rockets.
Yes, sir.
I've seen that man throw 70-yard flat-footed bombs on the field, dude. Yeah.
We have 3 quarterbacks. We have, and that's because I haven't seen Hundley throw the ball, but we have 3 quarterbacks. There's vapor trails coming off that ball.
Yeah. Everyone but
Morton has got a good, quick, I mean, that ball's, that ball flies off his hand.
The difference between Morton and the other guy and Eason is Eason not only has a cannon, but has touch on the ball as well. You get what I'm saying? You could see he could drop it over people. He has a beautiful release, I'm telling you. I mean, when it comes to arm talent, and I've said this whole time, from what I've seen on that field, that arm talent is gorgeous. You can't ask for better arm talent from a quarterback. It's just other little things that he needs to work on.
Yeah, if people are going in and they're still in the Rivers mindset, and then you see Eason throw a ball, it's going to be whiplash as far as his technique goes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look, we got a guy. Juiced up 13. What's up, guy? Appreciate you being in here. Devin Miles wants to know, do you think we should add another defensive back to the backfield in case of injury?
I mean, our safety's pretty deep, and so I really don't see, if you bring another in, who's losing the snaps, I mean, because this team is not, I mean, I don't care how bad training camp is, unless Rocky Sin just, shoots off the mouth or what, they are not going to turn their back on him in week 1 or week 2,
No.
So to sit there and bring somebody in and I mean, because these guys, Marvell Tell just hasn't had reps.
Yeah. Tell's looked okay.
Mm-hmm.
Rock has looked okay. Contrary to some of the reports, Rock has looked better than most of the other cornerbacks out there. I've seen him knock the ball down and stuff. He had a couple plays where he was made to look bad because of a great offensive play. Okay? It wasn't to me, it wasn't a knock on Rock. It was, wow, that offensive player did a great job at that point to get that reception, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm not seeing much. I think Rock's had a pretty good camp. I think Tell's had a pretty decent camp. So, and then of course, everyone else is out with injury or COVID, right? So, I mean, at least starters wise, when it comes to cornerbacks, Moore's gone, TJ Carey, Xavier Rhodes, they're all we're not getting rid of those 3 guys,
Right.
So I don't think we need any more additions. We just need some of the other guys to get back. That's the problem.
And quite honestly, there again, I'm not rooting for injuries or illnesses but this is not a bad situation as a Colts fan. This is, I mean, these are the guys that we really needed to get the reps and to take that development. I mean, like I said, Marvell Tell, I mean, it's been, it's been a minute since he's been out on that field. You could see it. And you can just understand that these guys are the ones that we really need to see.
Rhodes was not back yesterday. No. Kayvon. Sorry. Hopefully some of these guys should be back tomorrow along with Coach Reich. So Loyalist will probably give us an update on Patreon tomorrow when he gets back. Philip Benz, what's up? There's a name I ain't said yet today. Appreciate you being in here. Michael Pittman update. Pittman has came on the last couple days. He's shown a couple flashes. Didn't start off the greatest in the world during camp, but he showed a few flashes here and there. I did see him drop one. I saw a ball come right off his hands and get intercepted, which was kind of a bad situation that I didn't want to see, which also made Eason look really bad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Eason's fault. It was Pittman's fault. But at the same time, I've seen Pittman snag the ball in basically almost a wrestling move to get the ball on a high point against Rock. Another one of those situations where he made someone else look bad on one play, on the other play, he made the defender look bad, even though the defender was doing a good job. He just made an even better play than what the defender could do. So it is what it is. And you kind of want to see that a little bit, right? You want to see guys winning some and losing some, because if one side is winning all the time, that's when you know you have problems with the other side, right? So you kind of want a balance here. You want Pittman to win some, and you want Rock to win some, right? I mean, that's how it works out. And that's kind of what I'm seeing really in camp in general, overall.
Yeah, I'd agree completely. Like you said, I mean, one of the best undercut routes I've seen was Pittman on Rock. You know what I mean? Like you said, where Eason just threw the ball, and it was like he turned his head and boom, caught it there in the end zone. That was beautiful, you know. And then, like you said, the interception, it looked like it almost bounced off his wrist or something. You know what I mean? So everything, the way I look at it right now, this early on, it's either a play was good or it's a good learning experience. So either way, it's a win right now.
Okay. So Dabney, what's up? I'm going to mention it because you are someone that's in here a lot. But I disagree a little bit with it. Says, if we don't pull the trigger on Foles right now, would he be available later if we were desperate? Okay, so first off, I don't think that the Colts are going to run out there and grab another quarterback. They've got 5 now on the roster. But here's the deal, okay? If worst came to worst, let's say, and this is all hypothetical, okay? Let's say Wentz's injury is worse than it's thought, might need surgery, and ends up having surgery. And he's gone till October or some crap like that. Let's say that Jacob Eason, as good as he looks standing in the pocket, doesn't get any better when he has to take a step and throw the football. Okay, and looks like he's throwing interceptions every 5 seconds because he has to take one step to throw the football. Do we go after a quarterback? Most probably at that point. You know, at that point, I think we go after a quarterback just to fill the void until Wentz gets back. But I don't think that those are some really big ifs on both of those, because I think Eason is doing very well. And I believe from reports from the Colts, I don't care what Ian Rappaport and all of them are saying, because all they've ever said is a bunch of ifs, ands, and buts, and nothing, factual from the Colts organization. From what the Colts have said, he does not need that they don't believe he needs surgery, and all he needs to do is rest it. So I'm gonna...
and the fact that she said, Foles, I think Delusional Pat said it best. I don't think Foles is the answer to any of the quarterback situation we have going on here.
Okay. No, as for a quarterback wise, if we would go after a name, I wouldn't want Foles personally.
Not as a starter.
No. If we were to actually drop a pick and go after another quarterback, I'll take Gardner Minshew. And that's the honest... There was that stupid thing about Jacksonville. Remember that I posted and I was laughing about it because the trade scenarios were ridiculous. Minshew for Buckner, straight up. What? Okay. But I'm okay with I like Minshew. I don't think Minshew's a bad quarterback. I think he'd be fantastic with the Colts. But I don't think we're at that point of needing one right now. I really, really don't. I think once you start looking at that, then you put yourself down a rabbit hole, and you don't want to do that, okay? Sit and hang out with the actual facts of the situation, and enjoy your life, rather than constantly worrying about what other people are saying that may or may not be true, What's up, Gary Thompson? Pat's fan says he don't think Foles is any kind of answer. I'm going to have to agree. Foles would cost a pick, Gary Thompson says. Joe, what up, Joe? He was with our stream last night. Joe Thornburg, what's going on? Sorry, I'm late. Was making my mom dinner. That's so nice. That's so nice. I need to go make. I can't make my mom dinner. She lives in Michigan. I could make her dinner and then send it to her in the mail. By the time it got there, it might have a smell to it.
Isn't that what they call DoorDash?
Right. Kayvon says RG3, he's available. I don't buy into the whole he's being 8-balled out of the NFL. There were teams out there that actually offered him to come in and do a workout, like Seattle. Offered him to come in, and he turned it down. I don't think RG3 actually wants to play football. He had the opportunity to do a workout in front of media that the NFL set up, and then he said, no, it's a circus. And they said if he really wanted to play football, he would have still went out there and done it anyhow just to show what he had. That's my personal thoughts. I think that he don't want to. He just wanted the money from everything, and that he don't want to even try to play football. And to be honest, his last year in the NFL wasn't very good. And it's been, 6-7 years since then? I don't know. I would need like 3 weeks worth of workouts before I even, made a decision on him. Would I shut him down completely? No. No, I wouldn't. I would be one of those GMs that would be like, I'm keeping all options open. If he wants to come in and give us a workout on a free basis for a few weeks just to see what he looks like, to give us a good look at him, then fine, I'll do that. But I wouldn't just bring him in for a day, let him work out for a day, and then sign him or not sign him. I would need to see a long term, because I haven't had any kind of film on him for the last 5-6 years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to build, see where he's at physically. See,
Oh yeah, that's Colin Kaepernick. You're right. But either way, RG3 again, another guy kind of. I don't know if RG3 would be that guy either. But go ahead.
And like I said, for him, I'm more interested in see how he looks physically. He's had a rough road.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I saw RG3, and for some reason, my mind went straight to Cap. I don't know why, but no, RG3. We need more of an arm talent than a running talent, and RG3 has lost some of his run because of his surgery, and his arm talent wasn't ever above super par. You know what I mean? It wasn't at that really good. We want a good throwing quarterback. If they can run as well, great. But I don't think RG3 ever reached that perimeter of being a really, really good thrower. And I think that's what the Colts really need.
And I'll tell you what, this young man that we just signed from Arizona via Green Bay and stuff. I mean, he's got a little bit of something to show before. Before I would ever contemplate bringing in an RG3 or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Gary Thompson says, Burt Jones. All right. Pats fan, I get you. I understand. There are very decisive decisions and opinions on Colin Kaepernick. I really, again, it's kind of a political thing. It's became a political thing, and I'm going to try to keep that out. All right. We're going to talk to him about football. That's fine. I'll give you my opinion on it. I gave you my opinion on Colin Kaepernick, and take it or leave it. But that's how I feel about it. Gary Thompson, I'm old too. I know who the heck you're talking about. Obviously. I know who Burt Jones is. But anyhow, guys, it's been an hour and a half. And I should probably make my wife something to eat. She's probably hungry. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Loyalists, what else can they do if they want to support Colts Law on the channel?
Like you said, the news break, go into that news break and use that link that he's got in the description. Or, as always, share it. Get us in front of people. Let people see, with the content that we're putting out, and let them decide.
All right. So thank you, each and every one of you. An hour and a half, I think, is more than enough. We will have a live stream on Patreon, so make sure If you want to be part of that or see it while it's live, anything of that nature, make sure you join Patreon. The link is in the description. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist.
Get better, Carson.
Get better, Carson. That's right. Until next time, have a good one.